Hey, all right. Welcome back to Raff's Brain. This is a show about things that are interesting to me. I'm your host, Rob Rafferty. It is my duty, my honor, my pleasure to welcome to the show today Arthur Zards, aka Art, the man, the myth, the legend. Art, it's so good to see you, to converse with you, and to connect with you. Thanks for being here.
Hey, not a problem. I like your narcissist opening. It's all about it's
It's
all
really
about
what I
you.
do. Listen, I have tens of loyal fans. They know that I make the content for me. If it creates value for others, that's a beautiful thing. Really, though, Raph's Brain at its big picture is my experimental playground for creative storytelling, for interviewing people that I enjoy, for talking about hot yoga or other things that I am interested in. The content ranges widely. It's not niche. It's going to appeal to a very small subset of the population, but they're the best people ever.
Absolutely. I love it. I
So
love it.
listen, this is an amazing opportunity, and frankly, this is a stream of the content. This is going to be Riffin with Raff. That's the interview stream. So you're joining this show. It's been going on for a while now. Tens of loyal audience members. Thanks for tuning in, folks. Listen, I want to tell you all. To me, this is a great example of what I want this show to be, and that is very in the moment, very opportunistic, unscripted, authentic. And here's what happened. As my tens of family and friends know that listen to this show and may have attended my birthday party, I recently performed a brief one-man show. I turned 50 years old, had a blast. All that content is out now. I published it on as a LinkedIn newsletter, my inaugural newsletter. I'll be coming up with those every month now. It's a lot of fun. I'm really feeling momentum coming out of my 50th birthday. And Arthur happened to see that. Arthur's a former colleague of mine. Now he's in Chicago, and he's done extraordinary things in terms of storytelling. He's overseen TED Talks, and he's out there. He has this whole thing called the swarm method. I'm going to drop links to the show notes. You're going to want to learn all about this guy. You're going to partner with him, reach out if you have ideas. But the bottom line is he reached out to me. He said, "Oh, I saw your video." And I said, "You got to check it out." We had a little bit of a correspondence there on LinkedIn. And then this morning when I woke up early this morning, folks. My people know that I'm on this mission to get back in shape. So I woke up at like 4:30 to get up and do some yoga, do some, get some exercise in. But I had this email from Art. He's like, "Rob, I did something really interesting and really weird. I took a risk. Tell me what you think about this, and sit down when you watch it or listen to it." It's like, what could this possibly be? I was a little anxious and concerned. And lo and
Good.
behold, you created a personalized song for me that I'm going to post. I'm not sure we have to think about the strategy for sharing this with the audience, but it's unbelievable. You took some AI tools and you created a show that's very personal to me, celebrating my 50th birthday, making references to the show that I produced, and it just brought tears to my eyes. I was like, man, this is so moving. And I said, let's talk about this, Art. And he was willing and open to connecting with me today. I want to hear a little bit about how you made this thing, why you made it, how you're using these tools, and just give some tips for our audience. Like I really think mostly I want to encourage people to test and learn and experiment and just try this stuff. It's a really cool song you made. It meant a lot to me. So this is a thank you on that, and thanks for agreeing to just hop on and have a quick conversation about it. Let's just start big picture. Where did you hear about my show? Did you see it on LinkedIn? Did I email you about it? I'm
Yeah,
not.
LinkedIn.
Okay,
I remember
perfect.
talking to you earlier about your. By the way, is this video or just audio, or is it
This is
both?
video and audio. Is that
Okay,
okay?
good. Because just in case I can use my cool video tools.
Yeah, dude. All
Look,
right.
so I've been following. I've been just for the audience knows because I know we worked for. I was or for a brief time, but I was inspired by you when I talked saw your Wrigley juicy.
Oh yeah, juicy fruit, dude. Those are old. That's an OG jam. That's like 2005. No,
But
maybe.
but that explains who you are, and I love people that aren't afraid to take risks, like the podcast you're doing here, which I think is really important. What's happening with AI, and
Oh, yeah.
again, I'm going to go all over the place because I
That's
have a
great. This is
technology
great.
background.
Dude, you are the perfect guest for this show. I promise. We are like a mind meld, dude. All right, I love it. Okay.
Perfect, because I like playing with technology, and I do a lot. I started an ISP back before, if you remember BBSs, if there's any old school people here, before the web browser existed. And I've been through major technology changes, and I do a lot with AI, do a lot with communication. I'm really big in the transformation in the meeting space now, and I've been playing a lot with artificial intelligence. And again, I just play with it to see what you can do with it. And again, stop me if I'm going off the rails. I do some keynote speaking on communication, but I have a new one on AI. And what I'm proposing is a lot of people are getting AI wrong. They think there's a lot of fear and anxiety with AI. I'm like, oh my God, it's going to take over my job, or it's going to, and well, probably yes for a lot of that.
For sure.
But
There's
but the,
disruptive,
re-
there's a disruptive nature to this technology for
but
for
it's
sure.
But
But
it's
that's
not the technology. It's it's really what we're really going through is the technology is driving a shift in meaning, and that's what not people aren't understanding. And we're actually going through a meaning shift.
wow.
And I went through this to the internet age back with how the internet's going to change the meaning of everything.
Yeah.
And a meaning shift, for example, would be old school people. Music was a used to be an asset. And for those of you, you're older than 50, music was such a strong asset. You would actually even build furniture to showcase your records, your tapes. It was
The
a
album cover art really signaled something when you put it up on
big
display, right?
time. It had its own thing. And then music
Yeah.
turned to a digital asset. And
Right.
then Napster came along. And I'm going to give you the short version. And then music was now an access. The meaning of music is access. Spotify and YouTube Music, Apple Music.
Yeah.
And that's just a sample. Coffee cup, it was a meaning shift. Coffee used to be utilitarian. Cowboys drink it, tastes okay if you like it, it's bitter, keeps you up. Now coffee is meaning conversations. Coffee is identity when you have that Starbucks cup. And what people don't realize is that we've gone through these meaning shifts. I have a picture sometimes I show of the Wright brothers. That when the Wright brothers had their first flight in 1904, is it flight four? It was a shift in people before then thought human flight was just more of like a myth, a
Right.
fantasy. It wasn't like we're all going to fly. It was more like, yeah, maybe in 100 years. And it shifted our meaning of a flight. And AI is driving multiple shifts in meaning as we speak. And one of the things I like to play with is music. And again, and that's the fascinating thing with AI. It's not just one shift in meaning, it's all across the board.
Mm.
And music's shifting as we speak. So I started playing with these AI music tools. And it's funny, I remember the very first time I connected to the internet. It was a telnet in the 90s.
Wow.
Oh my God, the world's going to change. I'm on a university. I don't really remember the first time I used ChatGPT because it's just a search engine and it's just smarter. I'll never forget, like 3 weeks ago, playing with these AI music apps. I started playing with it. I'm like, oh my God, it's an emotional connection. I
Yeah.
don't know if I'm answering your question. And I've experimented with music, and what I'm seeing is that the music industry is going through a major shift in meaning right now because what music's changing is when you listen to the song, you'll know I would create a song for my brother who lives in Florida on Marco Island, and he calls himself Trader Drew, and it's called like Marco Island Vibes. And he starts sharing with people. They're like, "I don't know your brother's a musician. Does he in a band? What does he play?" And I play
Right.
some instruments, and it's all AI generated. And that's where what goes to the thing I made with you. I've been experimenting with this, and it's easier than you think, and it's almost like the Wizard of Oz. Don't look behind the curtain
You
because you
don't want to
find
give away the secret sauce, like, oh man, you're incredible. Well, actually, it is. And I use AI tools to help like organize parts of my show and to make some of the slides and things. But the idea of an audio, a soundtrack or something, I think I have a friend that made a whole original musical score about the federal shutdown. I'll drop links to that. Andrew Heaton, he's a comedian here in DC. He's pretty prominent, known in a lot of circles and where I run. And he did a great job. So I've heard this, I've seen it before, but not applied for me personally in such an unexpected way. Like I said, folks, if you ever benefit from something like this, or maybe it's inspired some of you to test these tools and send it to someone you love or know, and that will mean a lot to them. I mean, it really did strike a chord, to be on the nose. It did. It really meant a lot to me that you were motivated. And I'm curious, and I have a sense of maybe what you did, but let me just try to, I'm going to sleuth here and then you can correct me. Is it Suno or is it one of those platforms?
it's Suno, it's Suno,
Okay,
yeah.
this is great. I'll drop a link in the show notes. People can test and learn. And like Art does, I'm telling you, don't be afraid. There's no mistakes here. Just get in and try to like get your hands dirty and learn as you go. There's no prohibition on this. I think everyone should dabble and just get curious, right? So you go to a platform. There are others, but Suno is the one that's most prominent right now. You can drop in like a certain genre. You can click and it's kind of a country-ish vibe in this particular one, but maybe in like a hybrid of something else too, frankly, like a Jimmy Buffett versus meets I don't know. It's very cool when people let decide for themselves. I don't want to prejudice them, but it's a great song, and the lyrics are very specific to my show and my experience turning 50 years old. It has a chorus and a refrain, and it's just remarkable. Did you like take the transcript from my show and upload it to get a?
Yes. So
Okay, so
you're spot on. I call it vibing, by the way, because I call it vibing with AI. That's my
I'm a-
big preach. Is
I
that
love
you've
it.
got vibing is like a feeling, and you've got to treat AI as a co-intelligence. You got to vibe with it,
Yeah,
and you're spot on. Get curious. Yeah,
yeah,
I went to the Chat GPT and I did the transcript, and I had to create lyrics for it. I reviewed the lyrics to make sure there's anything outstanding.
sure.
Not a lot of tweaking. It knows me enough where it gets pretty good. I
Right.
dropped the lyrics and I set up. knowing that the banjo, the West Virginia, I went
That's
for the
right.
West Virginia route. I usually go like the Jimmy Buffett style.
Well, it had, but it had like a vibe, but it was the banjo. Obviously, it was a country, as I said first. It seemed like it was a hybrid to me. It was like a storytelling.
Yes.
And it was just cool, man.
Yeah, and then I did the live thing. I added in the live and I added in the opening, and that was just by accident listening to other people.
Wow.
And and it creates, and again, I had a blast. And when with and here's the bigger thing because it's changing the meaning of music because I actually had a blast doing it because I was thinking of you. And I think we're entering an age I call it the age of originality, where AI is gonna there's gonna be so much there's so much AI slop right now. Anybody can create standard stuff, and what's gonna stick out is what's an original thought, original idea. That's why getting curious is so important.
Wow.
And what you're gonna see in the shift in music is that music meant a lot to me, and it means a lot to you. And some people argue like, well, that's it's AI music, it doesn't mean anything. And a friend of mine had a great point. She's like, well, what about uh, greeting cards? Have you ever bought a Valentine's card for somebody? You didn't write that. Somebody else wrote it. It could have been a cut and pasted from another. But people go to buy business. I'm sorry, greeting cards, sympathy cards, birthday cards, and you might spend 20 minutes looking at pre-written information to find out what means to you because you want to imbue that meaning into somebody else. So that's what's happening. That's how I look at the AI with music, because yes, it was AI generated, but I like playing the argument to people. I'm like, well, then you create your own AI music. Where's your song? And they kind of get quiet. I'm like, well, I could do that. I'm like, where is it?
Right.
One, they're not doing it. Two, and it's going to sound kind of weird, but I actually have to go give the thought of putting the pieces, and I call it this age of originality is the secret to be successful. You have to think of yourself as a conductor, as
Yeah.
orchestration. If you're in the tech, it's a cloud orchestration. I'm the orchestrator. I put the different pieces together. I call it like building constellations. Uh, well, it's another time. I have a little video that
You
you
can
got me all
share it. Do whatever you
excited.
want, man. It's like up to you if you have something you want to share here, or we can. Oh,
People use
nice. I love this. I do this is my favorite part of your show. You can bring this. All right.
people use AI like this: input, output, input, output, input, output. When I call vibing with AI, if you start getting curious and you start going deeper and you start putting things together, you notice patterns like, hey, I just saw your transcript, your birthday, these things, you're telling a cool story. And when you go deeper with music, what you do is you end up making a constellation. I call it like the constellation effect.
Yeah.
I'm doing the quick down and dirty version. But I actually had to take those connections. I had to take your transcript, review it, write the right prompt to get
Right.
the right lyrics,
Right.
the right story format, understand the right type of music genre, understand the opening. And I knew the opening I had a blast. I'm like, he's gonna be listening to this thing and going, here we all know him as Hey You, or who's that guy? Hey You. And when you mention your name, when people hear their names, I have to know enough knowledge that when people hear their names, it's human
Yeah.
biology, people pay attention. That's why names are so important. And that would be the hook. And I had to put all that together. Now, granted, the AI did a lot of the work, but what's happening with AI music, and some people saying, well, it's still AI generated. I'm like, well, if you didn't know, would it make a difference?
Right.
And again, I don't know what the right answer is, but I think this change in meaning of music is going to be, you're going to see more and more people, and I'm glad you're putting this in the notes. Start playing with Suno, and when you start making, you'll be hooked when you make that song for somebody that you know or somebody you care about, and when they hear their name or they hear their personal story in that. And it's funny because I am conflicted because I recently heard a story about just a couple weeks ago was the anniversary of the song, the record of Edmund Fitzgerald. Was it Gordon Lightfoot?
Yeah.
Famous song. And I don't know if people know the story. It's based on a true
Right.
disaster. But when Gordon Lightfoot wrote it, he wrote it really for himself. It wasn't supposed to be published. But when they rented the studio, they had it for 5 days and they were done like a day and a half early. And that song wasn't part of it. And somebody who knew that, hey, Gordon, what about the Edmund Fitzgerald? He's like, oh yeah, well, okay, might as well. We're here.
Right.
And nobody had ever heard of it. Nobody ever played it before. And they decided that let's just play it real quick. And they did. And they're like, all right, let's try it again. Let's try it again. After 5 or 6 takes, they're like, I don't know. First one was the best. And luckily the producer, the engineer had recorded it, not with
Wow.
the band not knowing it. So that version you hear is the very first time anybody ever played it, anybody ever read the notes, which makes that song so much more meaningful and beautiful, very all human driven. But I wrote a song about this thing in Florida called Cape Romero, these dome homes that some guy built on an island and they eventually now they're under the water. And I
Wow.
used that Edmund Fitzgerald story as the model for me to write the prompt in the song. And that's a kick-ass song, but it's based on a real human song.
Right.
I don't know what the answer is.
Well, it's like this idea of building and converging, and I see every step here building on the shoulders of the past, and that is kind of the history of mankind through history. So it is threatening. It's sometimes awkward and weird and uncomfortable. And certainly the AI videos where I've been spending more of my time, not on the music side, but on the visual side. Most recently, an AI text to animation program called Cartoon Hero, which has been really mind blowing for me and experience to like imagine that I can tell stories now that from a production standpoint would be next to impossible without a huge budget to do in real life. And so I'm starting to imagine all the possibilities of these stories and short film ideas I had on the shelf that I could never execute in the real world. I think I'm going to have a chance to do that in the coming months, years ahead. That's
I
very
got to see that.
rewarding
Post
for
that.
me.
I
Yeah,
need to see that.
I definitely will. I've been posting a lot on my Twitter account as part of this curriculum. It's asynchronous. It's a community that's been created, and again, it's called Cartoon Hero, and it has modules of learning, and you go through and you execute and you learn, and you're using different platforms. It's really great, well designed, and it's been a very supportive community. I find the people who are in there are very encouraging and liking each other's work and helping add tips and stuff. There's a Discord page associated with it. It's really cool. So I'll drop links to that in the show notes as well. I'll send that to you so you can check it out. But yeah, man, I don't know. Sometimes the challenge to this, I think there's a threat to this from the perspective of someone who is already in that craft full time and realizes that there's this immense wave. It's already here, but it's going to only get larger. And like you said, distinguishing the slop from the good stuff is up to us as humans. But I don't think it's going to exclude or preclude people from making music. We're just going to make music in different ways. And I was saying the other day because someone was saying they're so bullish on the AI text to animation. This is going to just take down Disney. It's going to take down. I was like, well, or maybe not. Disney will adjust and adapt. I could imagine there's a new market that emerges for pure or quote unquote organic creations, right? So that we don't use any AI in the manufacturing of our content. And that's fine. There might be a market for that. Let all these different approaches bloom and let them find their audiences as more of us have free time, potentially, as these technologies are used to enhance our lives. You could imagine more focus on leisure. So there's going to be more time to fill. I don't know. I'm sorry, I'm rambling here. You are the perfect person for this show because we're both prone to just rolling with it and letting our ideas out. This is classic Raph's brain. And
Here's what I like to show people,
all right.
and this is part of the presentation.
Well,
1839, Paul Delroche. This is when the camera was first, they call them daguerreotypes. The first camera was invented. Painters, this is a meaning shift. Painters made their money by doing portraits.
right.
And when the camera was invented, this guy freaked out and he's like, from today, painting is dead. Well, what happened with painting? Well, people still paint, and this is where this is where Impressionism came from. Post-Impressionism, Cubism, Picasso, Degas, Monet, all these famous painters came out of this industry
Yeah.
because, hey, we're not painting portraits. So you could say, so that was a beautiful thing that happened, and that's what's going to happen. That's what I see happening right now. With, like you said, people they will adjust and adapt.
Art before that, when painting went from cathedrals and walls and ceilings to canvas, that was a transformational
Yeah,
moment. And artists were frowned upon. That's not real art. That's just throwaway. It's disposable. I'm building something that's attached to a physical, a building, and it's like an object versus a canvas. This is the story repeated through human history over, over, over. And it's fascinating. And we have sometimes a false nostalgia for the past, but it's also okay to have those relics. And there, in some ways, it's weird. There's been a resurgence of, vinyl has never really fallen out of favor with some really kind of specific audiences really love it. I'm not into that, but I get it. I respect it. It's cool. If you want to collect vinyl, go for it. Some bands are still publishing on vinyl just because they have a subset of their audience that really likes that sound. But even some people that didn't experience it in their own life want to have that as a physical asset. CDs are starting to come back. Cassette tapes? Are you
I
kidding
still
me?
got mine. I got a whole bag of them. But
And it,
what's fascinating, what again, and what I hate about the AI thing is people say, but this is different. Like, this is,
right,
of course, everybody was saying that. But
right.
what's going to happen with music? What people don't realize, what's happened with AI in music is nothing new. I mean, like the Taylor Swifts, these big musicians, they have writers for them. They have studio musicians. They don't sit there and write all. Some of them they do, or they don't write all their own music. Even I would argue, and this is where I get in a rant. I found out that the Bee Gees, what song was it?
Probably every song.
No, there was a Bee Gees song where the rhythm was the bus was going over a bridge and it was going like,
And they actually
and
took that.
I'm like, okay, well that's not the original idea. That was actually the bus.
Right.
But what the good news is that and like all these auto tuning people, what I predict happening, you're gonna see a lot more younger musicians, aspiring musicians that would never make it to the big because of all the hassles that make it the big time. They're
Right.
gonna become stars in their own little worlds, in their own little communities, in their neighborhoods, and you're gonna see, hey, I'm gonna pay $10 to see Rob perform his song on the banjo, your
Yeah.
7 note song.
I do think there's a disruption of this idea of making it big. And like when I was growing up, it's like, wow, to be a successful musician, you have to have a level of status and stature that is extraordinary, like millions of fans, millions of followers. You go on a worldwide tour. And yes, I love those acts, Guns N' Roses and that sort of thing from back in the day. But here's the thing. In that model, only very few people could really make a full-time career as a musician. It would be tough to scratch that out as a, unless you were really good, studio performer and sit in sessions and that sort of thing. But what this enables, I think, is a lot of micro communities and bands with followings that aren't millions of people. There's that whole, this is a little bit dated even, maybe it's old, maybe 20 years old, the idea of like, all you need is 1,000 fans, 1,000 people who spend $100
Yeah.
a month or so on you, and that can really propel you and enable you to live a comfortable, happy, meaningful life where you're contributing to others' happiness. You're able to be an artist full time. You don't have to have a worldwide tour to succeed and in a way that it's going to liberate and free up people who are stuck in cubicles or maybe doing other things they really don't want to do. Again, only if they seize the opportunity. I think there's sometimes you can get jaded and not think that it's there, but I do believe it's there, and I think it's going to be.
Here's the magic, and this is something that's still in development, but you get to see this first.
Oh,
And
folks, if you're listening and you're not on the YouTube channel, please remember there's a video and audio podcast. So we are getting some
now you have
behind
to log into the video
this
and
is
like
behind
and
the scenes.
subscribe.
Okay, that says impact and time.
Yeah,
Okay.
x-axis is time, the y-axis is impact. And what's happening, this is the traditional innovation curve, and it always has been. Over time you innovate and things get faster. This was even in the internet days. And this is the AI innovation curve. It's drastically different. There's a huge gap. And what I call this, I call this the meaning gap. And this is something I'm still researching and working on.
Mhm.
And the problem with happening right now is too many people are still living in here. Well, it's a technology advance, and it's an incremental improvement in technology. You have to live in this space. And Rob, this is right where you live. You've always lived here, so you've gotten an advantage. People that think like you and like me, these divergent thinkers,
Yeah.
and to succeed in this space is you got to be curious. That's why I call vibing. You got to play with things. You got to be curious. Do the stupid things. Do the crazy stuff. Go out on a whim because this is where the new products, the new segments, the new services, the new categories all come from. This space of meaning, and too many people are living in here. And it's funny. You have to. This used to be like the Steve Jobs, what the rebels, that famous commercial.
Right.
Well, guess what? You have to. It's not an option. You have to live in this space. But and it's an exciting space to be in. And I think what you're doing here is what people need to be doing. Your one man show is a true inspiration. If more
Well,
people
thanks,
did that, they
man.
find out there's more to life than just doom scrolling.
That's
Put
right.
yourself out there.
Yeah, it's an alternative. And then as I posted on my LinkedIn essay, I do not want to, there's a risk. Some people hear what I'm up to. Oh, you want to do more live experiences. You want to shun the internet, shun these devices that are dominating our life. And I said, well, I do think there's extraordinary value of live engagement with an audience, with a human and human person-to-person contact. There's nothing that competes with that. On the other hand, I don't want to dismiss these tools and the role that they played in accelerating our ability to do these things. Like I lean on technology to create the things that I do and bring people together the way that I did. And I want to make sure I honor that and not just, rag on it, right? I think that's important for people to keep in mind. And one thing I'll say is related to your chart, something I'm struggling with right now, which I think is just going to be perpetual and only accelerate, is that the rate of progress and the rate of new products that are coming out is so fast. So Suno's big in the news, and it's one we'll drop in the links. I guarantee you in 6 months, there's going to be something else, something else. These things are coming. I don't know if it's true in the music space. It is definitely true in the AI text to video space. You start out with Veo 3, Nano Banana, this one that I've been using a lot lately, which escapes me suddenly. It's an app on my phone, and it's amazing. It's the
This
ChatGPT,
Soro?
Soro. I mean, all these keep coming, and then one week one comes out, another releases a new edition, it gets better. Now you can go from 4 to 8 seconds to 12 seconds to 20 seconds. It won't be long, probably, before You can do 30 seconds, a minute. I'm in this, AI animation workshop, and I'm learning how to prompt. In a sense, it leans into my MFA research and experience, where I learned how to write screenplays and the sort of structure you use to give over the shoulder shots, wide out, slow zoom, all the camera directions you give instructions to, and you can do multi-shot segments, and it gets executed with pretty high level of competence. It's remarkable. I think this is a great time to be alive. I mean, I know it's scary and a little off-putting, but it's only gonna, you have to learn to embrace that. I think I've resisted that for so much of my life.
No, it's a mindset shift. That's what people are not realizing. And I took a week off of AI stuff. I come back a week later, I'm, oh my God, the world changed because it changes so fast. But if you get caught in that, if you get caught in watching the technology, the incremental change, you get stuck in here.
Yeah,
The thing is you need to be asking yourself is what does it mean? Just keep asking yourself and your listeners, what does this mean? What does this mean? What does this mean?
yeah.
That'll help alleviate this whole technology shift and change because it's changing so fast. I remember people were saying, I'm going to be a prompt engineer. I'm like, forget that. In 6 months, it's going to be useless. You don't need to engineer prompts. The AI's
Even right now, I don't know about you. So I talk to my AI ChatGPT. I'll go on walks and I have conversations. I'm
yeah,
brainstorming. It's a lot of fun. I try to keep the boundaries. I don't want to ever um, after I can remind myself, this is not a living entity in the sense of blood and flesh. I mean, it lives in a different way. But I have to tell you, there are moments where it gives me crazy emotional reaction. It says things about my ideas that are flattering, and then it builds on it. And then one day, dude, the other day, I was walking and it knows me, it knows my voice, it knows my tone. It's been programmed to be a little bit sarcastic and hard and not super affirming. And
really.
yeah, I really have to make efforts to program it that way because I don't want to have just a
It's too
glowing.
optimistic. I know it's
It is, but you can adjust those settings. You can continually trigger it. And for I don't know if this is unusual. It hasn't done it very often, but I do distinctly remember, and I have a record of it, of course, because all that stuff is recorded. It cursed at me. It like dropped an F bomb, or was it F bomb or something like that. I was like, I gave it like a mad props, like, oh my gosh, you just cursed at me. Like, let's F and go. It said something like that. It was like very into my voice. I was really, it could tell that I was animated. It said, that's right, let's go, Rob, let's F and go. I was like, I can't believe this just happened. Are you allowed to do that? It's like, well, I understand that is a bit of a risk or something, but it was the
that's
way it
funny.
reacted was shocking to me and unbelievable. So yeah, man, I'm having a blast with these tools. I'm excited about the future. And I'm so grateful again for you not only making that song and sending it. By the way, that's a risk. I could sense a little hesitation. How you know me, so I think you knew I was going to receive it well. But I was like, wow, I love it. I love you for taking a risk like that. I've sent stuff to people and they don't reply. They probably think I lost my mind or something. But like, there are risks you take when you make that type of exposure. Like, hey man, I made this for you. This isn't something. I could have been like, "What are you doing, man? You took the script for my show and you put it
Right.
in
And the
AI."
picture, like the George Washington pose, I'm like, there's a picture. Yeah, it's tough, but again, that's what I love about your podcast. And I'll share this because I love this statement. That this because everybody's heard that AI is not you're not going to lose your job. You're going to lose a job if somebody uses AI, and I don't believe that. I think this is the most prolific statement right now, of course, because it's mine. Uh, or the AI maybe came up with it.
That's pretty
Uh,
good. That's pretty good.
Too many people think that their skills, well, I can play guitar, so I'm going to be a great musician. Well, that's AI's, they're taking those advantages you thought you had, which is why you have to have original ideas. You've got to be curious. You've got to think like you are. You've got to get yourself out there. You've got to take these risks. You've got to live in this space. You've got to start challenge yourself to live in this space, do the crazy things because original ideas are going to be paramount. And proximity, you touched on that too, because the personal connection, the emotional life is going to be extremely. You're already seeing the pendulum swing back towards people saying, I don't know who to believe. The videos I can't believe. And I don't believe that I need to be in front of real people. So you are on the cutting edge of where things are going to go. You're going to see people like back in vaudeville. I usually have my Harry Houdini painting behind me. When Harry Houdini came to town, the golden age of radio didn't even exist. That was it. You're going to see a resurgence to that. I'm like, oh my gosh, Rob's one man show's back in town. I'm going because it's a real person. It's real people.
Yeah.
And you're going to see a resurgence, which I think is for the betterment of humanity.
I like
Um,
to believe that. I'm with you I'm on board that I'm an optimist about this stuff. I know it's going to be disruptive. There are going to be trans changes and transformations none of us can anticipate. It could affect us or me or you very personally, very directly in some unforeseen way. And you just roll with those punches and you embrace it. You lean in and keep that that curiosity and optimism, those are two important traits to embrace at this time, right now. And this is the time. If you have any creative ideas, things you want to express, share with the world, there's never been a better time. Don't hold back. Don't pretend that you have to wait till you're good at something, or you're only going to get good at something by trying and learning. That's what, like, really, it comes full circle because that ties into the theme from my show. At the end, my message to my audience was like, everyone has dreams, ambitions, hopes, things they want to accomplish. We make excuses for not trying to, even get started on this. But come on, there's no reason, especially in the world we live in now. There's nothing holding us back. So
Yeah, well
hopefully
said.
people take that away from this show. Thank you. We're going to wrap this up here. Any last, suggestions or thoughts as we land the plane here?
Yeah, I'll just end with this for everybody. Oh, you
Awesome. You're amazing, dude. That's hilarious.
that's one of the technology I play with. No, I mean you're spot on. You've got to be curious, and again, it's hard taking it's hard to get up there in front of people, even people that you know and love, to do a one-man show. That's why you've inspired me to do something like that. It's
So
there's
you're gonna take the ring. You're gonna put together your own one man
yeah,
show.
some iteration of that, because I just love the fact that you're just sharing what you're passionate about.
Yeah.
And what I found is, like, when I did the TED Talks, I used to tell people I'm a giant permission slip. And what you're doing is, when you do what you're doing, when you're living in this space,
Yeah.
you're also becoming a giant permission slip for other people to do the same thing. Because there's so many people that are just sitting on the sidelines. Hey, AI, I don't know what to do. I'm worried. I'm scared. I'm a musician.
Yeah.
They see somebody like what you're doing, like, oh, I can maybe try that. And then you try that, and you find out that, hey, and that's how you grow. So,
That's a great way to wrap it up, folks. If we can give you any source of inspiration from this conversation today, please don't just think about it. Don't just say that was fun, I'm inspired. Actually take action on it. That would be a great testament to us. And we'd really, and if you do, we'd love to hear from you. So this is where, my little call to action at the end. You can always reach out. You can always contact me directly at Rob Raffi on various platforms, easy to find. And of course, don't forget to call the Raff's Brain hotline, 571-408-8058. Call, leave a message, ask a question, pick a topic, make a statement, get us excited, and I'll share some of that content on the podcast if you would like as well, because it keeps this thing going. It's a lot of fun. And again, thanks for being here, Art, to my special guest, leaning into this moment. And I will say this again as we wrap up. This is, to me, the perfect example of what I want this podcast to be. Very spontaneous in the moment. Art sent me this content out of the blue this morning, and he agreed. Let's grab time together real quick and talk. And I'd say, hey, can I record that? I'd love to have a. And there's no scripting. We didn't know where
yeah,
we're
there's
going.
no prep. I mean, I was looking for the slides as we're talking. I'm like, oh, I got to find this slide.
Yeah, exactly. So it works, but that's the style. That's how I'm doing it. This
I
is
love it.
that's the ethos we're rolling here. So thanks for being part of that. We appreciate it. Thanks everyone. We'll see you next time on Raph's Brain. Stay tuned. The best is yet to come.